you are watching in live RTD channel. Welcome to this English news edition. As a headline, we have the head of state explains the merit of the social policy conducted by his government. A humanitarian disaster in the northeast of the country.
Those were the headlines. Thanks for joining us in our newsroom. The head of state has granted a series of questions about the institution that he has put in place since 2007, which aim to attend and promote solidarity and social cohesion with a view to a sustainable development. Let us listen now. The head of state.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Horumar dhaqaale iyo horumar bulsho iyo horumar siyaasadeed saddexdu waa mas'uuliyadda dawladda.
The head of state has since 2007 put in place an institution intent to promote solidarity and social cohesion with a view to a sustainable development. Remember that also since his accession in the ambassador Sapram, you have put emphasis on the fight against poverty and precariousness of any kind. In this sense, you create an agency of mutual assistance and solidarities referred to as National and Initiative for Social Development. Then these agencies has exchanged an appellation to become Agency of Djibouti Solidarity for the Development. Under the auspice of the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, we can now say that the chairman of these motivations change of appellation, the various forms of development to know social policies, economic, and the responsibilities of a government. In 2007, we had initiated at the level of a state the idea of a social progress of this first initiative, so was intended to prepare the ground in the current institution known as the Djibouti Agency for the Social Development, combating poverty, establishment and cohesion social undergo in which aim to put in place an environment of equal social at the level of health, education and employment, support the most disadvantaged person or the orphans, to intervene in a period of a drought, disaster or crisis, and its aim how to receive help and regulate the people move rural and hunted by the route. That is all this first national institution is tackled to a study. It is by SAP that we try to go and adapt for an effective establishment of a social solidarity leading toward a true social development. We have often said that you made reference in the advance of a level of social progress, you take decision put. We do not see the fruits of this advance in matter of social progress. The Westerns cannot cancel certain difficulties existing between the natural and can often be seen through the media of homeless in the Western capitals of people suffer from cold or even die in these problems everywhere existing. However, we have done all for our societies today. If there is no solidarity or mutual assistance at the level of social human, and there is no true existence.
magaalo madaxda yani miyiga ay tagaan oo ay dadka toddobaad la soo joogaan wixii dawo u baahan wixii jeexid u baahan wixii oo dhan ay la dhameeyaan ayna wax lacag oo dadka laga qaadayay haba yaraatee aanay jirin dadka wixii xagaagii guryuhu looxii way gubtaan yani iyagana in gargaarkoogii yani si joogto ah looga.
The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Margele, received today Sunday at the Presidential Palace Mr. Hu Jinhua, Vice Chairman of the China Merchant Group, famous conglomerate known for its expertise in financing, construction and management of various sectors of activities, including the infrastructure, the banks, the logistics, and the transportation. In the course of his interview with the head of state, the vice chairman of the China Merchant has proceeded to the inventory of many economic projects that his group wished to endorse in Djibouti. These projects are among other consisting of a participation to a height of 30% of the construction of the new free zone of Djibouti, including the installation of the first, will take place tomorrow, Monday, at PK 23 under the auspices of the President of the Republic. The Vice Chairman of the China Merchant Group has also taken advantage of this hearing with the President Gele to show the willingness of his group to contribute at the height of 1,000 housing to the achievement of the project. Right to Housing for All Foundation, launched by the President of the Republic himself. The Minister of the Presidency responsible for investment, Mr. Ali Gele Abubakar, and the Minister of the Economy and Finance responsible for the industry, Mr. Ilyas Musa Dawale, took part in this meeting.
For provide our social housing and also for the training to the Thailand young generation for the future of the nation.
Indeed, just after their meeting with the head of state, the latter have also proceeded to a signature for the part of Djibouti of the Convention of a Partnership Agreement at the end of the meeting. The China Merchant Group, they also integrate the project for the rehabilitations of the road Djibouti and Ethiopia.
The President of the Authority of Port and Free Zone of Djibouti, Mr. Abubakar Omar Hadi, also took part in this hearing. In his intervention, the President of the Authority of Port and Free Zones indicated that the project of building of these twin towers will generate employment opportunities for more than 2,000 people during construction and more than 1,000 jobs when they will be put in services. As many projects that make the relationship Djibouti-Chinese an exemplary cooperation. Finally, he said these projects are among other consisting of a participation to a height of 30% of the construction of the new free zone of Djibouti, including the installation of the first stone, will take place tomorrow, Monday, at PK 23 under the auspices of the President of the Republic.
And now it is here that the President of the Republic that he will ask the first stones of the mega project Djibouti Free Trade Zone, first in Africa, to share its dimension with an area of 32 kilometers with the wide maritime areas of a special 15.4 kilometers. Djibouti Free Trade Zone does remain the largest free zones on the African continent, to K200 jobs, direct and indirect. Let us listen now for more information. Our colleague in the scene, Hidayah Mohammed. Welcome, Hidayah.
Thank you. Good evening. Here we are located in the PK23, exactly and especially on the road of Arta, where the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, will lay the first stone of a mega project, and so the so-called international free trade zone. Well, this major project, as you can see the images behind me in the background, it's located in the on this side, on the north side, it will be a 15.4 kilometers for the maritime area that will be constructed on different sides. Actually, and the second site will be on this side of the south, where it will be near the road of Arta. Let me tell you that this comes after, especially the signing. It comes after the signing of an agreement between Djibouti and the China Merchant Holding Company, as well as for the realization of a project called Djibouti Free Trade Zone. It was initially in the presence of the President of the Republic, and it's signed as well by the President of the Port and Free Zones Authorities, Abubakar Hadi, and as well the CEO of this Chinese company. Let me tell you that this agreement especially provides for the creation of the largest industrial free zone, as well as the construction of a shipyard and a highway, and as well the expansion of the port of Durali. if I go a little bit deeper and explain this free trade zone and and areas of, let's say, the free trade zone will be used for various commercial areas, and that will actually include manufacturing, air and sea transportation, as well as electronic trade and regional, let's say, distribution, a conference and facilities, international exhibitions, cruise ship terminal, as well residential and entertainment installations. And this is hotels and tourism as well. Let me say, according to the Djibouti Port of Djibouti and authorities, this mega project will help to create over 200,000 jobs. It is such a huge opportunity. It is such a huge opportunity for the youth, as well as the jobless persons that will find a lot of jobs. And thanks to this inauguration and this mega projects, which will be built continuously for the next 10 years, it costs us $7 billion US dollars. And the agreement also provides for the granting to the Chinese, as I explained, of the company, of a very large economic, as you can see my background, industrial and commercial area, and with a great space of 32 square kilometers and a wide special maritime area of 15.4 square kilometers, and well, on two different sites, Corambado and well located to the south of the capital. Speaking after the ceremony, Hadi said, if I recall what Hadi said, it was like the project will considerably boost this country's economy, as it will also the economic catalyst in Djibouti. And when to end this, this is the largest free trade zone of Djibouti ever built in the African capital, in the African continent. And well, and this the importance of this project comes, let's say, with the willingness, it testified the willingness of the head of state to boost the economy of the country. And this is, I end my report. This is Hidayah, RTD, BK23.
Thank you so much, Hidayah Mohammed, for the details. The Chinese investment in Djibouti concerns several large-scale projects, in particular in the port sector, with an increase in the number of ports. The last great achievement to date is the rail line Djibouti-Addis Ababa. The China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation were responsible for the construction of this railway line, linking the port of the country to the neighboring Ethiopia. A project estimated at $4 billion, extending on 750 kilometers. The railway track inaugurated the recent days by the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, and the Prime Minister, Ethiopian Haile Mariam Desalegn, will significantly reduce the travel time to Addis Ababa and strengthen the import from Ethiopia and the export to the country. In addition to their involvement in the railway sector, the Chinese companies are endeavoring to the development of port equipment to Djibouti, for example, with the expansion of the port of multifunction Dorale, which should cost $590 million. The Chinese investment also relates to 5 facilities, additional ports, including several with the facilities dedicated to certain goods, in particular, such as a device to livestock or a terminal or carrier, in the course of the next 5 years. The development of the air transport sector is also a priority for Djibouti and China. 2 airports funded by the China Civil Engineering Corporation are currently under construction at a cost of $599 million. The airport of Velde, located 25 kilometers south of the capital, will be equipped with a capacity of 1.5 million passengers and 100,000 tons of freight. The second airport, Ahmed Dini, located in the north, in the region of Obok in Russian, will accommodate 767,000 passengers per year. The launch of the construction of the road access Djibouti-Galilei Addis Ababa to this major project, whose ambition is to make Djibouti a regional trade place, with a right of way on the ground of 42,000 square meters. This complex's futuristic real estate will include 480 apartments, a full range of modern offices, conference rooms, restaurants, gyms and sports centers, a stage of basketball and swimming pools, as well as 260 parking spaces. The CEO, Mr. Lee Yun, also indicated that the project of building of these twin towers will generate employment opportunities for more than 2,000 people during construction and more than 1,000 jobs when they will be put in services.
The opening of a summit of head of state and government has held in Bamako. The 27th Africa Summit France is held yesterday at the International Conference Center in Bamako, an exposing building which has allowed the plenary, and the meeting was closed 8 of the head of African states, and in France not less than 35 head of African states, the prime ministers and head of delegation of African countries, representative of international organizations and institutions have participated in 27th African Summit France, which had for main theme security in Africa to cope with all forms of terrorism that threaten the well-being of African population and its economic development. The host of the summit, the President of Mali, Ibrahim Boubacar, has welcomed its African counterparts with its rating the French President François Hollande, who had carried out a visit to French forces Barkins and Stills in Gao before coming to the summit. The Prime Minister Abdulkader Kamil Mohamed, accompanied by a large delegation comprising its Secretary General Naguib Abdallah, the Ambassador of Djibouti in France, and the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, Mr. Ayed Musa and Mohamed Idris, as well as its technical advisor, Mr. Ali Silai, and Mr. Mustafa Almi, Director of Bilateral Relation in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Yassin Hussein was present. The President, His Excellency Ismail Margili. At the 27th African French Summit, after the home counting, the participants are rendered in the large meeting room of the CICB for a plenary session to discuss the major record bearing on safety in Africa and the problem of development, the fight and strengthening of security, cooperation against terrorism appear in a good place in final declarations of 27th Summit, which specifies that this fight must be led to its as well in the North Africa, in the areas of the Horn of Africa, the Lake of Chad, and the Great Lakes. The security of borders and maritime security must be strengthened between the African countries. The first theme of this summit focus on partnership, and the head of African state have concluded the need to boost the partnership between Africa and France for the emergence of an inclusive growth of create jobs. During this summit, the head of African state and François Hollande have welcomed the return of stability in Mali, who returned from for 4 years of serious crisis. They have welcomed the effort of French army forces in Mali, who have reduced to a large scale the capacity of terrorists who loses a lot of land. The President Ibrahim Boubacar has greatly thanked France and its African peer, which show that participation in the summit is a mark of confidence in the people of Mali, and Mali will never forget the France which is supporting them during the times as well. The African countries, the French President Hollande has rented the capacity to take his destiny in sacrificing himself for the return of peace.
During the meeting, the intervention of the Prime Minister of Djibouti is not gone unnoticed. It has insisted on the major role of our country, which has become an important player in the fight against the terrorists, the piracy, and the return of peace and stability in the countries of the Horn of Africa through its efforts. Mr. Abdul Qadir has denounced the action of some states which grant facilities to terrorist organizations. The 27th summit has taken end in the same day on the recommendation and resolution to strengthen the cooperation between Africa and France. In the margin of 27 summits of thematic meeting focused on the development of the kind and youngs is also held in the capital of Mali.
Still on national news, in the framework of the National Week of Social Actions, a delegation composed by the Secretary of State responsible for Social Affairs, Mr. Muna Osman Aden, the Minister of Economic and Finance, Mr. Ilyas Musa Dawali, the Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Awale, and the Director of Agency for Cooperation of Turkey, Mr. Mikhail, visit in the Prefecture of the Merjok of the region of Arta. The Secretary of State allowed to the business social was also accompanied during this visit in the Merjok, the Director General of the IDDS, Mr. Mahdi Muhammad Jama, and the senior responsible for the department. Upon their arrival, the delegation has been welcomed by the Prefect of the region of Arta, the President of the Regional Council, the Sub-Prefect of the region, the notable of the region, as well as the population of the Merjok. At the court of this visit, the Secretary of State responsible for Social Affairs directed to the Republic in their thanking them for their warm welcome. She has also stressed the importance of the agriculture for the fight against poverty and malnutrition. Let's recall that it is an excellent tool for the creation of sources and income for the rural families.
The President of the European Transport, Mr. Abdullahi El-Miyoukin, has indicated in his intervention in the national television that the public transport operates as in the accustomed way. To the President of the European Transport, Mr. Abdullahi El-Mi, in its intervention, the national television has indicated that the public transport operates as it accustomed as regards the difference that exists between the Union and the public power. The President of the European Transport, buses, minibus and taxi, has indicated that this difference could be planned thanks to an emissary of the President of the Republic. We thank the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Margelle, for the designation of this emissary and have helped to establish a dialogue between the public authority. We have agreed, he said, to work together, and we welcome and we are recognizing. Among the profession, I do not deny that one or two is not a just, but now in terms of acknowledging all the profession of fraudster, Silas is unacceptable and we cannot accept it. Finally, he said, I invite you to a debate which we have already obtained the approval of the Director General of the RTD.
The High Islamic Councils of Ministry of Foreign Muslims Culture has organized this morning a training workshop for the strengthening of the capacity of imams, and the ceremony of the opening this workshop is in full in the conference rooms of the High Islamic Council and Gashamale, the presence including the Secretary General of the Department, Mr. Muhammad Hussein Douali, the Director of Foreign Muslims, Ahmed Abdallah, as well as the Executive Secretary of the High Islamic Council, Mr. Abdusalam Farah Magarre, and the leaders of the High Committee of Fatwa, Sheikh Abdurrahman. This training, which benefit 50 imams coming from the different municipalities of city of Djibouti, and it is intended to help the imams as paying properly of their noble mission, consistent to guide and educate the company. In their speeches, the High Islamic Council, Mr. Abdusalam Farah, and the Director of Foreign Muslims, Ahmed Abdallah, have in turn urged the participant to enjoy this training that will last 10 days and to acquire more experience and skills to their duties, homework for the guide for the company.
For its part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mohammed Hussein Douali, has reminded that the responsibilities of the imams and predicators for strengthening of the thought, the dissemination of Islamic culture.
And to finish this edition, moving on to the regional scene in Nigeria, a humanitarian disaster in the northeast of the country. It is worse, and these are the words of United Nations about the situation in the northeast Nigeria. According to the latest figure in the region of Lake Chad, nearly 11 million people in need of assistance as a matter of urgency. 2.4 million of men and women have already fled the region. Most are traveling in the areas of Maiduguri, the great city of the sector Nigerian side, hoping to find a place in humanitarian camp. The armies of Nigeria, Chad and Cameroon have launched 2 years ago regional forces for the campaign to combat the insurgents to Boko Haram. They have extended the scope of their attack beyond the borders of Nigeria and the entire region of the Lake Chad. Last weekend, at least 5 soldiers were killed in a military base to Buniyadi in the state of Yobe, while 5 suicide bombers are detonating in killing 3 civilians in Maiduguri. Well, this is it for this edition. Thank you for your attention and have a wonderful evening.